an editor for Andy Warhol's Interview, the Los Angeles Herald-Examiner, LA Style, and Detour magazines, Joan covered the social set, the Hollywood hotshots, the international art scene, the mysteries of food, the excitement of travel, and the fabulous world of fashion. Joan continues to find creative people on the cutting edge who make things happen. Here's Joan Agajanian Quinn.
Hi, I'm Joan Quinn, and welcome to the Joan Quinn Profiles. Waiting to be profiled are actor, author Jack Klugman and singer-performer Kevin Early. Three-time Emmy Award winner Jack Klugman, the youngest of 6 children, was born and raised in Philadelphia. He always wanted to act, but after 2 years at Carnegie Tech in Pittsburgh, where they told him he should be a truck driver, he left. Jack found small roles. He did summer stock, and he debuted in 1959 on Broadway in Gypsy with Ethel Merman. In the 50s, 60s, and 70s, he worked in TV and film. He's best known to all of us as Oscar Madison in the TV series The Odd Couple, which was produced by our favorite, Gary Marshall. Oh. We love him. And he played opposite Tony Randall. You were nominated for a Tony Award opposite Ethel Merman in Gypsy, but did you ever get a word in?
No, my voice was a lot better then than it is now, but it wasn't much better. In fact, I had a moment where I say, Rose, well, you know, and I used to say, Rose. And Stephen Sondheim was imitating me at parties. So I said, Stephen, I don't appreciate you going to parties and making fun of me. He said, no, I'm not making fun of you. I wish I could do it the way you did.
That's why you got your Tony.
I did a reel. Oh, my audition was terrible for that.
But that must have been pretty exciting.
Oh, I loved her.
That was your big break, kind of, Broadway?
Yeah, well, I did a lot of television. And Johnny Mercer saw me once at a party. He said, holy mackerel, I haven't seen you on television for half an hour.
Oh, that was great. But did you sing? Were you a song and
dance? No. I did Kiss Me Kate with Alfred Drake. I did it on television, but I can't sing.
You can't sing. But actually, did you take acting lessons or did you take truck driving lessons?
I took acting lessons. I didn't listen to them.
What did they think? I mean, when you were at Carnegie Tech, did you want to be an actor?
Yeah, I went there. I took acting. What happened was I was raised in an Italian neighborhood, so I had that Italian accent, and I always talked with my hands. And I said, hey, forget about it, that kind of thing. So I was called a gangster at school. The kids called me the gangster. But I developed a certain style, and then
I thought one of the things in your book, Tony and Me, says, if I ever told him that I wanted to be an actor in my neighborhood, it would have been suicide.
Oh, it would have been terrible. In fact, I did lie. I told him I went to college to become an electrical engineer.
Oh, that was okay?
And one day the fuse went out in the barber shop, and they said, don't worry, Jake will fix it. And I didn't know how. So that's what I told them. They said, Clark Gable. Oh, they really ridiculed me.
Afterwards, though, they probably were so happy to know you.
And they were very, very supportive.
Yeah.
Anybody else said it, made fun of me, they nailed it.
They go for it. One of the things that we're here, you've had a long career. Everyone knows you on TV, film, stage, but nobody knows really a lot about your personal life and your inner soul. And you've just written a book, and it's called Tony and Me. And I think it's great because it has a
very
DVD in it. And
they're very funny.
Is it very good?
Yeah.
And the one thing that I wanted, when I started reading it, your son, Adam, wrote this wonderful foreword talking about Tony and Me and saying that he bet you that if you could get everything together, that he'd help you write the book. Yeah. And you said, okay. And he thought it would never happen.
No, because I was not organized.
Is that it? You were the real Oscar?
But I felt such a love for Tony, and I wanted to, this is a tribute to him. I published it myself. I lost a lot of money because I wanted it to be exactly the way I wanted it to be, a tribute to Tony, because I didn't know how much I missed him.
Yeah, and what he said was, by losing the bet, he obviously lost the bet because you got everything
Yeah.
together. By losing the bet, it was a wonderful thing for everyone in the world because now they get to know how you
Yeah.
feel.
Well, contrary to why I love Tony Hill, he was a well-rounded guy. We were on tour 4 years in a row. We did the Odd Couple the play, and he would take me into a museum, and in 2 hours I would learn more than I would learn in 4 days at the Louvre. And then on the way home in a cab, he told me the best dirty joke you ever heard. So he was able to be around.
It was
me.
both
And
sides.
his laugh was so infectious. I loved his laugh.
Why did you actually write it then? What were your reasons other than your love for Tony?
I wanted to tell the world how wonderful he was. They didn't seem to realize how good he was.
But what about Jack Klugman? You were so close to him. It's not about Jack Klugman, really.
No, it's about him. It was a tribute to Tony. That's all I wanted to write about. And when I went to New York when he was in the hospital, and I substituted for him. They gave an award, and I accepted it for him. I was the host at the party he ran for his theater, and I thought they treated him very badly. So I would visit him every day, and I would give him support, and I loved him. And we talked about how important we were to each other. But till I lost him, then I realized how much he meant to me. And the only thing I could do was write a book.
So one of the conclusions then that you came to was how much you missed him,
Oh,
right?
God, I missed him very, very
Did you
much.
find other things while you were writing the book, like within yourself?
Not about myself, but I would find with him.
Yeah.
And I would remember things he would say that were so memorable and so important. I really adored him. He was a sweet guy.
When you publish the book, which you can buy online, I know, you can buy it online, but is it easier to self-publish? You had to find the person who wrote it. Burton Rocks.
He's a wonderful guy. He helped me very, very much. But the book business is worse than anything. There are like 197,000 books published every year, so it's very difficult to publish.
So Burton Rocks, who wrote
with me.
Wrote with you. This is a different kind of a book. When you read it, it sounds just like Jack Klugman is talking. I noticed it was all about the way you were talking, which sometimes you don't get when someone's collaborating with you.
Well, I didn't really. What he did mostly was kind of check what I had written. He proofread
is that it, mostly?
But he was very good. He was very, very important to me.
When we were talking about the Odd Couple, and I love one of the stories where where you and Tony arrive with Gary Marshall in New York, and you're both in the same limousine. Tell that story.
And I was smoking, and he said, "You can't smoke in here." I said, "Why? I smoke. I want to smoke." So he got out of the car, and he said, "I can't work with this guy." And I got on the other side. I said, "I can't work with him. He's to tell me I can't smoke."
And so there's Gary.
Gary Marshall said, "We'll get 2 limos, that's all."
He's standing there like the 2 stars of his show are both telling him I'm quitting, right?
Gary Marshall was the best, the best.
And he was very new. You talk about how young he was and how he hadn't done anything before. And he's got these 2 guys. Did you know Tony before you started that?
I did a show with him in 1954. We did a terrible show called Appointment with Adventure. It was a summer replacement for a good show. And it was terrible. But we played the same thing. I was a gangster, he was a professor, and we both loved to cook. So that was what it was about. But it was a terrible show, terrible.
But so you weren't really buddies when you got in that limousine to go do this show together?
I had seen him in Mr. Peepers, and I respected him.
Right.
He was so good in that show. He walked that fine line between being gay and being bossy. He was wonderful. He was just a wonderful guy. And so I knew about him, and then I didn't see him from 1954 to 1970.
Oh, that was a long time.
Yeah, it was a long time.
So you were, practically newcomers to each other.
Yeah.
And for him to just blow his stack and get out and say, "I can't stay in the car, I smell," he's smoking. He says, "My clothes smell."
He's terrible about smoking. He was terrible about it. And he used to be a smoker years and years ago. And his wife smoked.
Oh,
But she had to smoke outside. She couldn't smoke on the